Hey everyone, welcome again to How to Think. Again, this is a channel where we do not tell you what to think, but we teach you how to think. And today we're going to be covering a topic I have been wanting to do this for a long time. I've had the slides and everything ready to go. It's very information dense, and because this is such an important topic, unfortunately, and part of the reason I've been holding off on it is I'm going to PowerPoint you to death because I need to get these specific bits of information in there. Everything in this is very important. Before I continue, if you could please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow so we can continue to bring you content just like this. And so here we go. Today we're going to be exposing relativism. Now, why is this important? Well, this is important because I truly believe that relativism is the problem with society today. I think everybody has a relativistic mindset. I believe everybody is their own authority. I believe fact is not the authority, that God is not the authority, and that the Bible is not the authority. And every individual is their own authority. I believe this is satanic. Like truly, if you can call one thing satanic, it would be relativism. And just to start off here, I do have some verses which kind of show this, and I'll be going over and covering more of that as the slides go on. So exposing relativism, this is the biggest lie of all time. So a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. Yea, hath God said. That was Satan's first words recorded in the Bible. All right, the serpent, that's what the serpent said to Eve, and God had given clear instruction prior to that. So he was casting doubt upon the authority, the absolute certainty, and clear instruction of God. Yea, hath God said, which then exposed or led to the relativism later. Proverbs 14:12, we have, there is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. So relativism, if we are our own authority, that is the way which seems right to us, because we get to make the rules. Isaiah 5:20 and 21. You have, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, and put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. So these things are different. They are not the same. Evil is evil, good is good, darkness is darkness, light is light. When you start mixing these things up, and then it says, woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. It's exactly relativism. My way or the highway. It's what I say, my subjective opinion, my feelings about things, how I understand things. What's you do you, I'll do me, that whole thing. Right? That is somebody being wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. They're not adhering to an objective standard. So, what is relativism? Let's define it here. Relativism is an ideology which claims that all truth is relative. Truth, morality, and reality depend on individual or cultural preferences rather than objective standards. No one viewpoint can be deemed more valid or true than another. It is the opposite of objectivism, which holds that truth is static, universal, and knowable. Now, have you heard anybody say relativistic things? Well, here are some common relativistic phrases, and here would be how to respond to them. Notice the response actually exposes the self-contradiction in these statements. Relativism is always self-contradictory. That is true for you, but not for me. And what would you respond with? Is that true for everybody? There is no absolute truth. Is that true? Is it true that there's no absolute truth? Well, obviously, they're making a truth claim by making that statement. Everything is subjective. Is that subjective? right? So if everything is subjective, it would include that statement, meaning that it's not an objective statement, meaning what's the point of making it? It's all a matter of perspective. Is that a matter of perspective? See how this is going? Who's to say what is right or wrong? Is that right? People, nobody can say what's right or wrong. Is that statement itself right? Everyone has their own reality. Is that everyone's reality? What about people who do not think that everybody has their own reality? Live your truth. Well, this one is interesting. My truth is I own your house and a car. Should I live it? You think somebody would be okay with giving you their car, giving you the things that they worked hard for, and have it just because you say, well, it's my reality, it's my truth that those things are actually mine, not yours, so you should give them to me. No, nobody would adhere to that because in objective reality, they know that they worked for it. Truth is a matter of opinion. Is that true? Morality is culturally relative. Well, is it morally right for one culture to impose its beliefs on another? If, let's say, I know I always go to the Nazis, but weren't the Nazis imposing their beliefs on their culture? Was that right? So if it's not morally right for one culture to impose its beliefs on another, then why are you trying to impose that belief on me? The belief that it's okay, or the belief that all morality is culturally relative. Why are you pushing that belief on me? It's obviously not true. All paths lead to truth. Well, what about the path that says only one path leads to truth? Is that path true? If it is, then all the other ones would not be right. You do you. Well, what if I am a thief? Right? What if somebody is a thief, a criminal? They like to do bad things. That almost everybody would agree are morally wrong. If somebody's a thief, is it okay that they steal because that's them doing them? Obviously not. Whatever works for you. What if what works for me doesn't work for you? See? So can people step on each other's toes? Can people oppose each other? Can people try to put their beliefs, put their control onto somebody else? Can they disrupt what works for somebody else? Yes, they can. So you can't say whatever works for you. We have to adhere to some sort of objective standard, like a law, for example. We all have to do what works best for us. Well, what works best for me is keeping others from doing what works best for them. Would you be okay with that then? No. So obviously, yet again, there has to be some sort of standard. Now, here's some relativist objections to objectivism. They'll say that relativism simply acknowledges the existence of subjective truths. This is both not true, as relativism suggests that all truth is relative, or there is no truth, and this would be a straw man objection to objectivism, because objectivism acknowledges the category of subjective truths. So, for example, if I say chocolate is the best flavor of ice cream, it is objectively true that to Kurt, chocolate is the best flavor of ice cream. That is Kurt's opinion about which ice cream is the best. That is objectively true, assuming I am not lying about it. That relativism acknowledges appropriateness in context. Something wrong in one situation might be right given a different set of circumstances. Now, this is still covered in objectivism because an exception to a rule is in itself a rule. So you can still say, yes, this is how you should operate, except for in XYZ situation. Well, the X, the Y, and the Z are all individual situations, and they would have an objective standard to adhere to if that is the situation. So it is still objective, it is still adhering to a higher standard. Exceptions to a rule are a rule. Then they might say that it is arrogant to claim that you know something for sure. Well, do you know for sure that it makes someone arrogant to claim that they know something for sure? It sounds like you're making an objective claim that to know something and to claim that somebody knows something for sure is being arrogant. But you are, by claiming that somebody is being arrogant by knowing something for sure, you were saying you know something for sure. So obviously not true. Relativism acknowledges that some customs and some cultures might be acceptable that would be considered unacceptable in another culture. Objectivism recognizes this, as we covered earlier, that objectivism accepts subjective criteria. Again, it's just another set of criteria. Yeah, would it be rude to eat with your right hand instead of your left hand in some cultures? Sure, in that culture, it is objectively considered rude in that culture. So you would adhere to it. Now, if it's violating a broader rule, like it says that you can beat up children or something, well, the objective morality of that would override what the culture says in that case. And then relativism is about being open-minded and not dogmatic. Well, are you open to the idea that relativism is closed-minded and highly dogmatic? Right? You would have to consider that idea if that were true, and if you were a relativist, you would have to acknowledge that it could be possible. You would have to have the open mind that it could be possible that relativism is the opposite of what you're claiming it to be. So how is relativistic thinking harmful? So as we are going to cover, it is literally satanic. Anton LaVey, he's the founder of the Church of Satan and the author of the Satanic Bible, is a relativist, and we will be taking a look at that in the next slides here. Relativism causes confusion because it affirms contradictions and uses appeal to mystery. How does it affirm contradictions? Well, like we said, there is no truth. Well, is that true? In order for relativism to be true, you'd have to acknowledge that it's a mystery that contradicts itself. Obviously, that's a truth claim. Creates chaos and anything goes. So anyone can do whatever they want since they are their own standard for truth. If it's right for me and not right for you, then how is there any objective? Well, the Nazis were just doing what was right to them, right? Serial killers are just doing what's right for them. People who do things that they shouldn't do to children are just doing what's right for them. There has to be some sort of standard that says that is not right for somebody else. So by saying anything goes, by saying we can just be our own moral standard, then we violate that. It creates chaos. It obscures reality and truth, because even if I don't believe in gravity, let's say, and say my truth is gravity doesn't exist, well, gravity still affects me. So there are objective truths, and we have to adhere to that because they apply whether we acknowledge them or not. It justifies the moral behavior. If it is right for me and according to me, then what makes it wrong? Well, obviously we have LGBT, transgenderism. Oh, well, I feel like I'm a woman, so therefore I'm a woman, right? Well, if this behavior and if homosexuality is wrong per an objective standard, not just what the person feels or how they think they were born, or that they can't help that they're this way. Well, if there's an objective standard that says against that, they're justifying the immoral behavior by appealing to themselves and how they feel and what they think and what they believe and what they think is right, and that love is love and all of those things. Challenges the existence of God. So God either exists or he doesn't. If God doesn't exist, then relativism could be true, because what would be the ultimate standard? What would be the thing that is outside of us, right? So relativism means that truth is internal, and subjective to each person, what each person thinks. Objectivism means that things come from outside. The standard comes from outside of us. And then it engenders ecumenism, that all paths and all religions lead to God, right? So we've even heard this from some Catholic churches, and some of the popes have said something similar, like, "Well, I think all paths lead to God." Well, Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and life, and no one comes to the Father but by me." That's exclusivism, not inclusivism. Now we're going to go over the Satanic origins of relativism. Now, I'm going to start here with Anton LaVey and show you how in the Bible this was the first thing that Satan did. Anton LaVey is the founder of the Church of Satan, and he was a relativist. Not only was he a relativist, but his relativistic ideology was clearly posited throughout his Satanic Bible. Relativism is, in fact, satanic. God is not the standard. You can be. Yea, hath God said. And when Eve saw from her perspective that the tree was good for food, pleasant to the eyes, and desired to make one wise, that was when she ate from it. So she didn't believe what God said. What God said was objectively true, that you shall not eat of it, or you shall surely die. But from her perspective, she saw that it was desirable. See the shift from God said, objective, this is true. Eve, from her own desires, from inside of herself, she saw through her perspective that the tree was good. It was good to eat from. It was desired to make her wise. She liked how it looked, right? That here's the temptation, and it came internally. Came from Eve being her own authority and rejecting the authority of what God said. So let's go into Anton LaVey. Anton LaVey's philosophy emphasized individualism, subjective morality, and the rejection of absolute truths, which align with relativistic views. Here are a few quotes from LaVey that illustrate his relativistic stance. There is no heaven of glory bright, and no hell where sinners roast. Here and now is our day of torment. Here and now is our day of joy. Here and now is our opportunity. Choose ye this day, this hour, for no Redeemer liveth. That's from the Satanic Bible. LaVey is promoting a worldview where there is no ultimate justice or objective morality, only subjective human experience. And again, you can see the contradiction here because he's making absolute statements. So is that true, Anton LaVey? Good is what you like. Evil is what you don't like. That's also from the Satanic Bible. LaVey's statement reduces morality to personal preference, rejecting any objective standard of good or evil. So if somebody likes to do something, then that's good, right? Well, what if you like to do drugs? What if you like to gamble? What if you like to do heroin? What if you like to hurt other people, right? Well, what if you like to do things at other expense? What if you like putting Jews into furnaces? Things like that, right? Then according to Anton LaVey, that's good. There is a beast in man that should be exercised, not exorcised. The Satanic Bible, once again. This emphasizes the relativistic view that societal or moral constraints are arbitrary, implying that beastly desires should be freely embraced. What is the thing that makes us different from beast is actually that we can be civil, that we can suppress our animal urges and act different than them for the betterment of everybody. Man, the animal who invented God only to enslave himself. So saying man invented God to enslave himself. Again, from the Satanic Bible, LaVey argues that religious and moral systems are human inventions and not grounded in absolute truth. Satanism encourages its followers to indulge in their natural desires. Only by doing so can they live fully and genuinely. That's just a direct quote from Anton LaVey. The statement reflects a relativistic approach to morality, implying that fulfilling personal desires is more authentic and meaningful than conforming to any external moral law. Again, going back to Eve, when she saw that it was pleasant to the eyes and good for food and desirable to make one wise, that's when she took it, but she went against the objectivity of it. There are no absolutes, no right and wrong, and Satanism is not a religion based on rules. LaVey rejects any concept of universal objective morality, viewing moral laws as human constructs. However, there are no absolutes, absolute statements, no right and wrong, absolute statement, and Satanism is not a religion based on rules, but that whole statement was just a rule about Satanism. See how it self-contradicts. Do what you want as long as it doesn't harm others. This principle reflects ethical relativism by suggesting that personal freedom is the highest value and moral boundary rather than any inherent moral truths. And it's still making that you shouldn't harm others an absolute moral truth. So you see what makes it a moral truth? Why is it a moral value? Why is it absolute that harming others is bad? What makes that bad under Satanism? We just read we're supposed to do whatever else we want to, right? That there is no right and wrong. Good is what you like. Again, we have self-contradiction, but as you can see here, relativism is satanic. Now, these quotes reflect LaVey's belief in a subjective, self-defined approach to morality and life. In LaVeyan Satanism, all meaning and moralities are seen as personal and individual, with no external or absolute authority to define right or wrong. This relativistic perspective is fundamental to his worldview, as he viewed traditional religious morality as restrictive and subjective freedom as liberating. Next slide, we'll dismantle each of these quotes. I already did a little bit of it, but let's go more into detail of it. So, there's no heaven of glory bright, and no hell where sinners roast. Here and now is our day of torment. Here and now is our day of joy. Here and now is our opportunity. Choose ye this day, this hour, for no Redeemer liveth. All right. First, LaVey contradicts his relativistic worldview. He's making absolute statements here, even though he rejects absolutes. Obviously, he is encouraging a YOLO, you only live once mentality. Live in the moment, for there will be no judgment, nor redemption for anything you do. Aside from the obvious damage of truly embracing this type of thinking, Aside from the obvious damage truly embracing this type of thinking could cause, just imagine a world where everyone does whatever they want, whenever they want. It contradicts other claims he makes. These are absolute claims. Notice the anti-nature of his biblical reference. It's Deuteronomy 30:19, Joshua 24:15. Choose ye this day who you will serve. I lay before you life for death. Choose life. LaVey is choosing death and choosing to serve a different God because it seems to him evil to serve the Lord. Good is what you like. Evil is what you don't like. Again, with an absolute claim. Good is what you like. Evil is what you don't like. Let's put it to the test. What if someone does not like Satanism or Anton LaVey? What if they like the idea of imprisoning, torturing him, burning all his books, and banning all of his satanic churches? By his standard in this quote, can he condemn or prevent anyone from doing that? No. If they are stronger, have more resources and power, then they can do this as they are serving themselves. See also the survival of the fittest mentality here that's present in evolution. There is a beast in man that should be exercised, not exorcised. Should and should not? I thought there were no absolutes, no morality or right and wrong. By what measure can LaVey ever use the words should or should not? According to who? To LaVey? According to LaVey, I get to choose what is right or wrong. So what if I say that his claim is wrong? Let's get really real here too. Have you ever exercised the beast inside of you? How did that turn out? Feel guilt, shame, regret, face consequences for it? Right? What actually happens when the thing that we just really want and we do it? How do we feel after? How many bad things has that resulted in when we just totally give in to our urges? Usually isn't a good thing, right? Man, the animal, who invented God only to enslave himself. So this one's fun. First off, as usual, Anton is making three absolute assertions here: that man is an animal, man invented God, and for the purpose of enslaving himself. Remember, he believes there are no absolutes. But past that, here's how this one is fun to dismantle. By asserting that man is just an animal, there are some implications. Animals just do what they do. Nobody condemns a lion for killing a zebra or another lion cub. I don't know if you know, lions do that. Male lions will actually kill the lion cubs that are they take over when they take over a pride. Or a shark for eating a seal, or ants for enslaving other ants. We recognize that this is just what animals do, and anything an animal does is something that animals do. LaVey even encourages humans to do this. See the problem? If man is an animal, then man inventing God to enslave himself is just something that an animal did. By what means, then, should LaVey condemn it, since it fits in exactly with this claim that man is an animal? He either has to recognize, which he is doing implicitly, that man is not an animal, or not act as though an animal doing something should be condemned. Animals just do what they do. We're just animals. We just made up a god to enslave ourselves, right? There's no higher authority. There's no reasoning behind it. What other animal has invented a god or would enslave themselves? Seems pretty unique to humans. His observation in and of itself already points to man being different than beast. Further, notice the implicit claim. LaVey seems to frame enslaving oneself as not desirable. But what is wrong with being enslaved? According to you, Anton, if somebody likes enslaving themselves, then that is right for them. Is the hypocrisy apparent yet? He condemns things frequently, while his own viewpoints don't leave room for condemning anything. This is what we call cognitive dissonance. He lives and even teaches as if things are absolute, that there are shoulds and should nots, while claiming there are not any. So, further dismantling, Satanism encourages followers to indulge in their natural desires. Only by doing so can they live fully and genuinely. As always, making an absolute claim. There's another problem here, though. What does LaVey mean by natural desires? Does everyone have the same natural desires? What if seeking out and serving God is a natural desire? What if adhering to moral laws is some form of natural desire? Who gets to define this, Anton? According to him, we do. Or is he thinking there is some objective standard of what natural desires are? This flaw also applies to living fully and genuinely. Well, what constitutes living fully and genuinely? If the only way, notice how exclusive of a claim that is to do this, is to indulge in their natural desires, then what does that look like? You can't define natural desires objectively without it contradicting your overarching ideology of relativism. Now, we know he means sexually doing whatever you want, believing what you want, and doing whatever drugs you want, but then he just made a rule to follow. As we will see from the next quote, all of his claims just conflict with each other. There are no absolutes, no right and wrong, and Satanism is not a religion based on rules. Come on now. Isn't that an absolute? Is that right or wrong? Would it be wrong if Satanism was a religion based on rules? If I say Satanism is a religion based upon rules, am I wrong to say that? Is it a rule that Satanism isn't based on rules? The last 5 comments we analyzed, you made absolute claims, and you are making an absolute claim now. You have been saying what people should and should not do. You have been saying it is not okay to enslave oneself. You have said the only way someone can live their life fully and genuinely is if they indulge in their natural desires. You seem to be suggesting that it is a good thing for someone to live life fully and genuinely. So what if a Christian evangelizes to you, tries to put you under the rules of God, imprisons you for disagreeing? Are Christians right for thinking you are wrong and that you are going to go to hell? How do you answer that one? Morally? So according to LaVey, lying, cheating, stealing, murdering, the Holocaust, rape, cheating on your spouse, spousal abuse, infanticide, and child abuse, molestation are not wrong. Everybody, listen. This is really important. Is this really the type of person you want to follow? Is this really a religion you want to be a part of? Is this type of ideology and thinking you want to use and adhere to? Really? Deep in your heart, even if you aren't noticing in your head, you know the answer to that. None of these things can be wrong based on what he's saying. Self-contradicting. Also, you can see the evil involved in it. Do what you want as long as it doesn't harm others. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Didn't you just get done saying there are no absolutes and there is no right and wrong? Why can't we harm someone? Are you claiming that it is wrong to harm someone? Based upon what? Everyone needs to indulge in their natural desires, I thought. What if their natural desires are to harm someone? What if someone is a sadist naturally? What if someone wants what someone else has and desires to take it because they can overpower them? All of a sudden, in spite of everything Anton has said until here, now he introduces a moral standard, an absolute. It is also nonsense. I'll try to get someone I know for a future video on this topic, but human sacrifices actually happen in satanic churches. I do have a testimony from somebody I know who can attest to that. The Satanic Bible even subtly references human sacrifice. It also explicitly mentions putting curses on people, sometimes to get them to do what you want, and sometimes to harm them as an act of revenge. So then the objection would be, if they harm you, you can harm them. But wait, I thought Satanism wasn't a religion based upon rules, so on and so forth. Self-contradictory nonsense. But again, if they practice human sacrifice, isn't that harming others? If you put a curse on somebody to harm them because you don't like them or whatever, isn't that harming somebody else? So they don't even adhere to this rule. He's making a objective moral standard by saying doing harm is bad, and then contradicting in any way in his own writings. So relativism is satanic in origin. It is integral in satanic thinking, and it is evil. Now we're going to see where else it rears its ugly head so you can recognize it wherever it occurs. Now I will be covering the next parts next time because it have gone on for a while here. It's already at 34 minutes. So again, I hope this content was helpful to you. I hope you could see some of the problems with relativism. I hope I've exposed that it is satanic. I'm going to make a part 2 video where we go over where it's showing up in society. right? So it's not just in Satanism, not just in satanic churches, but this is something that has permeated almost everybody, and why it is causing so many issues. So we'll continue from there. Thank you for tuning in. Again, please like, share, subscribe. Please let me know any questions or comments you have by commenting in the comment section. Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.